Honestly, I think I've come to a sort of realization about me getting sick. And it just dawned on me as I woke up this morning. This is the fifth time in 3 years where I have been like so profoundly sick that it goes on for days and days and days. Like normally I get like a mild head cold and I can power on through it, but man, like seriously, 2017, 2018, actually 2018 was right when I started making videos. So like like that first week I started making videos, I was sick pretty much. It was horrible. Yeah, I still got through that, right? And then 29. Oh, actually, you know what? Third time in 6 years. I should. Yeah, this would technically be 6 years, wouldn't it? Yeah. So, what can I tell you? I mean, again, I think I'm just about out of it. Plus, it has given me some time to think about, some things. So, yeah, my low is the fact I'm still sick, but my high is, I was able to talk to my mom for a little while. And plus, I had a chat with a certain someone yesterday that was really good for me. Really good for me. So, that was wonderful. And my act of kindness, I helped set the table and clear the table at dinner time when we had dinner. We just had pizza and wings. It's cool from Piggy Pizza, which you guys, yeah, for those of you who are wondering, actually we had medium wings, but the pizza we had was sausage, peppers, and onions. Which I actually, to be honest, I never really. I love sausage, peppers, and onions on my pizza. It's actually a tried and true flavor combination. Sorry, the sleeves is being silly. Anyway, good morning, happy Thursday, everyone. We have a lot of great stuff today. The Go Big Show is a new episode tonight. That's going to be awesome. We have Seth Rogen on Holland. That's going to be great too. And it actually got me thinking. It's been a good amount of time since I've done movies of my youth. And I was actually kind of thinking long and hard about what I wanted to talk about. Because if only I had planned ahead of time, I probably could have pulled off doing movies of my youth on Remember the Titans for Martin Luther King Day. But I'll have plenty of opportunities to do that movie then. I could probably do it during February. That is Black History Month. I could do it then. Maybe. There are several rom-coms I thought about doing, such as I Love You Man and Silver Linings Playbook. The problem with that is I'd rather wait until we're in February, specifically around Valentine's Day, to do those. So they were kind of a bust. And then I thought of a movie series that I had to think of a movie series where it had to be one I couldn't really appreciate until long after it was long over with, and I was able to enjoy them as I got older, just because of everything that went into them. And then, inspiration struck. So, let me preface this by saying, before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, before Harry Potter, there was but one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all together, and in the darkness bind them. So yeah, the movies of my youth is on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So as I said earlier, I didn't really get it or really appreciate it all until long after it was over. And, I got older and enjoyed it more. I mean, my father and my brother both read you guys know me. I'm not much of a reader. I hate reading. I think reading is boring. But my father and brother read the books, and they really enjoyed them. Not to mention, when the Lord of the Rings movies were first being made, and this is actually a bit of a behind the scenes thing, no one ever thought they'd ever get made. Ever. For so many reasons. From J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of Lord of the Rings, his writing being incredibly difficult to follow and read, to just the fact that fantasy movies like this, if they were ever made, they really weren't very good whatsoever. But, and this is actually something I learned watching the Nostalgia Critic and what he said. And that is, around the time these movies were being made, like, the internet was a full-blown entity that literally anyone can comment on and say their thoughts on whatever. And it was around that time where Hollywood really started to take notice as to what people and audiences were saying online. And they used that to their advantage because, for better or for worse, they could actually make products that could very much be better than what they would have been had they not taken the time to read any comments from audiences, be they good or bad. So that was actually one thing these movies really had going for them. And of course, there is the thing about CG was really becoming popular at the time. And for sure, the Lord of the Rings movies, they definitely use CG. But they use it in a way that's smart. Rob Walker, not the Nostalgia Critic, but the brother of the Nostalgia Critic, he once said that the best CG you ever see in movies is the CG that you don't notice that's there. And a lot of the CG in those movies still holds up. I mean, eventually stuff like Gollum, like, obviously he may sort of age a little bit. Some of the battles have sort of aged a little bit. Although speaking of Gollum, I gotta praise Andy Serkis. He is the man for playing Gollum. And speaking of the cast, I mean, what can I say? You know, this is before the Harry Potter movies really started to get into full swing. But at that time, I would have told you that the Lord of the Rings movies has the greatest supporting cast probably ever. I mean, at that time. I mean, eventually Harry Potter would, surpass that. But again, this is before Harry Potter. So we have, we have Lord of the Rings. I mean, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Ian McKellen, sorry, I'm blanking on cast members' names. I'm so sorry. I'm usually better with this. But you guys know. I mean, again, Viggo Mortensen, thank you. Seriously, what can I say about the cast that hasn't already been said? Every single member of the Fellowship was cast brilliantly. I dare say even perfectly. And I do gotta talk about the battles. The battles are like really, really, really cool. I mean, what can I say? It's fighting and, swords and orcs and, mythical creatures and monsters and stuff like that. I mean, what more could you want? So you're probably wondering, why didn't I really get into them at the time they came out? Well, here's the thing. These movies are long. Like, this is the time where I didn't quite have a full grasp of being patient yet. So every single one of those movies is like 2.5 hours plus. And again, that's just the movies itself. Some of those movies have like 12 hours of like extended features and stuff. Like, good Lord. What did J.R.R. Tolkien write? What was left out? So, yeah, it's crazy. But if nothing else, I do have the satisfaction of seeing Return of the King in the theater, because that's actually the one I did see in the theater. And to this day, Return of the King is the only movie of this particular kind of genre, sci-fi, fantasy, all that, I think The Shape of Water was able to do this too, but Return of the King was the first movie of its kind to win Best Picture at the Oscars. In fact, it pretty much swept the Oscars. Yeah, I think hold on, I'm gonna look this up real fast. Yeah, sorry, I gotta boot up my laptop real quick. One moment, please. So, as I'm waiting for the computer load up, what else can I say about these movies? I guess I could probably talk about The Hobbit too, because I did see the Hobbit trilogy as well. What's been said about The Hobbit that hasn't already been said, it's busy loading. Here we go. Oh, sorry. Okay. Lord of the Rings. Return. Okay, here we go. Alright, so let's see. Why the Guard is one of the greatest, most influential films ever made, of course. Received numerous accolades. At the 76th Academy Awards, the Oscars, it won all 11 Oscars for which it was nominated, including Best Picture. So I think you have actually, how many Academy Awards are there at the Oscars? Actually, you know what? Let's look at what Oscars it won too. Just while I'm at it. Hold on if I can. Okay, Academy Awards, okay. Best Picture, Best Director, and Peter Jackson. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Peter Jackson. He's the man, obviously, for making the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Although, fun fact for you, before Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, Peter Jackson was actually known for making horror. Yeah, he actually made The Frighteners. Fun fact. Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Film Editing, Makeup, obviously the makeup, good Lord. Original Score, Original Song, Sound Mixing, and Visual Effects. So, actually, is that 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 11. So, yeah. Needless to say, Return of the King is easily, honestly, these series of films are some of the best I've ever seen. And as you can imagine, you better believe they're A tier. Although, I've been meaning to sort of play around with what I really would consider the concept of an S tier. So, you know what? I'll consider this the S tier before I even knew what S tier was. So there you go. You have yet another S tier in my list of all-time great, franchises and finales that, go with them. Right up there with, obviously, Avengers Endgame, Harry Potter and the House Part 2, and Centaur World. So, there you go. That's now 4 things. I could probably maybe do a few others. I'll have to really see about that going forward. I can actually think of at least 2 other franchises that would technically make S tier by my standards if I really thought about it. But you know what? I think I'll talk about them on another day. So yeah, I don't really know what else I could say about Lord of the Rings other than, what hasn't already been said. It literally, I just mentioned, is, that trilogy is among the greatest, most influential films of all time. And, any moviegoer or fanboy or fangirl owes it to themselves at least once to see them. So, go ahead and do it. If you happen to be sick and have to quarantine, those movies are like 11 plus hours all together, so they'll get you through a day if you want to do that. Or then again, if you actually have like all the director cuts and edits and extended versions and stuff like that, you could probably watch one movie a day and that'd do you well. Funny enough, I have a friend who's actually quarantined with her family, and she's watching the Harry Potter movies one a night. That's cool. I don't know if I would ever. That's another real problem I have with the trilogy, Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the Harry Potter movies, and the MCU for that matter. Unless I'm really, really, really in the mood, the only movies I want to see are the last ones, because the last ones are the best ones. But maybe that's just me. In the end, it doesn't take away from the fact that, this series of movies is incredibly good. Naturally, I highly recommend it. And, maybe you might learn something that, I didn't mention here. It's Lord of the Rings and J.R.R. Tolkien. A lot of J.R.R. Tolkien fans really want an adaptation of a book called The Silmarillion. I've heard that movie would be almost impossible to make. But that's what people said about the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We got that. So I guess anything's possible. Like, favorite, share, the subscribe button, follow me on social notification on YouTube. I have a very whole news video for all of you guys who are watching. Do for today. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Remember, because I want to talk to you, I'm going to be here to lend you. So I'll be back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.